Everybody. I'll introduce myself, Sam Fagan, Director of Digital Assets at Checkout.com. What we're doing for the industry at Checkout is providing fiat on and off ramps for a lot of the major exchanges, such as Coinbase, FTX, Binance, and then on the NFT side of the marketplace is providing that same on and off ramp solution in fiat to really bridge the gap between the traditional payment processing world and NFTs and crypto, and making sure that when you're purchasing some of these assets and NFTs, that you get your money that you're supposed to. So that's what we're doing at Checkout. A little bit about myself: prior to being at Checkout, I was heading up global strategy and biz dev at Coin Payments, which is one of the global leading crypto payment processors. So really have a unique perspective there as to some of the NFT projects that were being worked on, and there we were just providing that on and off for crypto. Prior to that, I was running my own digital wallet startup in New York City called OmniCash. But what I think the world's bridge between sports and crypto is, I used to represent athletes and some musicians on the marketing side, and IP and owning your IP was always an issue. So you would see a lot of brands and a lot of corporations just taking the name, image, and likeness of some of these artists and some of these musicians and some of these athletes, and using them in their own marketing campaigns without having the rights to do so. So NFTs is really just such a unique product and asset for a lot of these big time artists and athletes to ultimately be able to own their own IP. So excited to chat, and happy to answer any questions if anyone has out there. But yeah, excited to be a part of this event.
Because you have this background with these A-list celebrities, right? The athletes, the musicians, that they should have ownership over their IP, and there have been a lot of boundaries crossed. It's in the Web2 centralized world where these huge corporations can basically shut somebody down, block somebody out, and now we're transitioning to this centralized environment of Web3. If you're talking to an athlete, or a musician, maybe it's a former client, former friend, that he's kind of resparking a new conversation. They trust you. You can speak, boldly, and they say, "Hey, where are the bright spots and where are the biggest hurdles in terms of what I do as a known person with a community of people that want my music, want to watch me play sport or collect something that has to do with the sport that I've been a part of." What's kind of that honest conversation you're having with friends that have these types of questions?
Yep. I think the bright spots are that we're seeing big big entities being launched by some of the biggest artists and athletes, and agencies that represent some of these artists and athletes in the world. So there's a lot of equity being put into the marketplace. And I think the more players that we have and the more awareness that we bring to the value of NFTs, it makes it better for the entire ecosystem. What I can say, while I was working at Rock Nation, which Tidal was a big part of what we were doing there, the music streaming platform, it was a truly artist-owned platform, and that was the business model that they were seeking after. I think this has now become a new evolution of that, or a new revolution of that. Now we're seeing all of these athlete-owned marketplaces. I mean, you see what Tom Brady is doing with Autograph and those entities, and it seems as if almost every day a new musician or a new athlete is getting into the space, and they're able to own the rights to these assets. And I think that's such a unique value prop to these artists and athletes who have gone through the ringer of having some of these issues fall through the cracks, and having some of these brands and corporations just take what's rightfully theirs. This is their name, their image, and they work their tails off, both on the field, off of the field, in the studio, and they deserve to have rights to their music, to their memorabilia, to their merchandise. So this is really providing a valuable asset to athletes and artists that have been looking for a solution for years.
When you think about Checkout and the unique tech platform that you bring to market, what makes Checkout different? And what's the niche that people need to understand that you've carved out and will continue to create great value from? Because not everybody's going to understand what makes Checkout different. So maybe you could speak to that from a technical standpoint.
Yep. So what I can say is at checkout, and a lot of our competitors, let's say, you're familiar with Fiserv's, the World Pays of the world, payments are fragmented. What we've been able to do, and really a big part of our point of differentiation at checkout, is providing a single stack solution to businesses that are looking to leverage our APIs. So what I mean by that, we are the acquirer, we are the processor, we are the gateway. A lot of times you're getting one provider that's the gateway, one that is the processor, and they're leveraging and relying on the acquiring banks to ultimately make sure that a customer has enough funds within their account to complete a payment. We ride directly on Visa and MasterCard's rails, so we provide all of those three solutions within a single stack. And that's the reason why we've found a lot of success with some of these larger enterprise entities, as I had alluded to before with Coinbase and FTX, and all the major exchanges are moving to us because we provide that single stack solution. So what that means ultimately, we're able to provide more efficient services from a cost structure and acceptance rates. Not a lot of people understand that on the back end, a lot of payments fail, and we're able to increase these acceptance rates to really an additional 20-30% to call it 60 to 70% of payments are accepted on our platform, and that's huge. That increases revenues by tenfold. So we're able to again just provide a pretty unique tech stack to a market that is definitely in need of these traditional fiat services. So again, providing the on and off ramps for these exchanges, for these NFT platforms, and yeah, that's what we're solving at checkout.
If I say to you NFT 2024, what positive things are you projecting and your team driving towards? What's the vision that you're hoping for, not predicting, but building? What are you building toward in the next 2 or 3 years?
Yep. I think on our side, on the NFT side, we're just going to continue to do what we're focused on. We want to be really good at one or two things. And right now, that is the pay in and payouts on the fiat side. What I see ultimately for this industry, again, I'll continue to reiterate the value of just imagining a musician bypassing, let's say, a Spotify and putting their audio exclusively via an NFT on the blockchain, owning the rights to their own music and distributing it, and ultimately getting paid in royalties or however you typically want to structure it, and providing unique access to their fan base. I think this is just the start of a revolution of IP, both for musicians and then on the athlete side, merchandise. There's always consistently, I remember growing up as a kid, you would get an autographed fake baseball card with a fake signature by a player that you loved, and you would get disappointed when you would find out a few years later. But now you're not going to be able to do that. I think this is just the start of something really special. And when I think of what I see the future, again, it's audio and music and owning the rights there, and it's merchandise and memorabilia on the sports side.
If you gathered everybody, the 5,000 attendees at NFT NYC up into Times Square, you had all the billboards. What's a final word for our conversation you might say to everyone?
Yep. Keep building, keep creating. We are on the just at the starting gates. I don't even know if we've broken the tape. We are really on just at the starting gates of what this technology is going to provide to the world. I mean, there's so many new business models that are continuing to pop up, whether it's in DAOs. I think STOs has a very bright future. So there's consistently new use cases. I mean, NFTs over the past years took the world by storm, and it's created new business models across industries, art, music, sports. So just keep building, keep creating, and would love to chat with anyone about any of this stuff. So thank you so much.
Well, I certainly look forward to seeing you in New York. Anybody that's watching this live or sees the archive of this, thank you for your attention. My name is Ian Utilli. I'm one of the co-producers at NFT NYC, and it's a great joy to be able to interview and talk with people like you, Sam. Thanks for being a part of our event, and I'll see you